For the linebackers, I thought it's been a very productive camp. We've built a room of competitive depth. We feel like there's a lot of guys in the room that are going to be able to make an impact for our defense. And overall, I just feel like the room has grown. There's more leadership. There's a lot of experience in the room. So just pleased so far that how the guys have worked, have kind of consistently gone out there and tried to improve every day. So pleased with the room where it's at right now.
Kind of the same thing the coach just talked about. A lot of competitive depth. Went out and got a lot of new guys, obviously a lot of new faces this season. So it's been good to finally see what the room's going to look like when that first game kicks off. We have a lot of young guys and experienced guys, but we have a lot of talent. And so it's really about just helping those young guys along early on in the season as they gain experience and getting them ready for the season.
You know, last year, Tyron Dupree was the leader of that group, maybe the leader of the defense in a lot of ways. Who kind of moves into that role this year?
I think Joe Carter's that guy for us. I said it before. He's a pro. He acts like a veteran out there. You know, the guys follow him because he consistently, you know, does everything you ask a teammate to do. So he's a great teammate, first of all, and number two, he executes at a high level. And you know, when you can consistently do that and do your job, guys, you know, trust you. And he's built that with this entire team. So he has that role. He's not as vocal, you know, so that's something we're trying to get him to do more. But you know, he definitely has the respect and the ear of the entire team, and people listen when he talks. So I think he can definitely fill that for us.
A lot of guys in that room that have played at this level. Not all of them have played here.
Right.
What have you been able to learn about those guys going through camp?
I think the number one thing that I've learned from them is that, you know, you reach a point in your career where you just get it. You know, you get what it takes. You get that it's going to take more than just what's on that schedule that coach gives them. You know, they go above and beyond to take care of their bodies, watch extra film, do the little things right. So they're guys that are, you know, they're already widely respected, and they've gained that from just their day-to-day approach and how they attack everything they do. So experienced guys who get what it takes, and they bring their, you know, their hard hat lunch pail mentality every single day. So guys look up to that, and so they've been great additions.
Coach Chadwell mentioned you have 6 guys that are ready to play, able to play.
Yep.
You know, probably a little bit different than what you had last year, but is that a good problem to have? Whereas, you know, your job is more trying to figure out what order they go in and how many snaps they get, but, you know, being able to have that depth that maybe you didn't have last year.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it's everything. You know, 6 guys, we don't know, you know, who's going to take the field, you know, game one right now, who's going to go out there, but there's 6 guys that I feel like we can rely on and that we can trust. And, you know, we've got guys that you know, are above the line, so that means that they've got a green light to go in the game. So when you have that, you know, that just increases the competition, increases the urgency of guys to, you know, come to work every day and be focused and dialed in. So that's just kind of raised the level of everybody in the room, and it's been big for us.
Given the size and speed blend for special teams, how important is it to be deep at linebacker, knowing that a lot of those guys will take on the special teams role and just by default take on an added risk for injury?
Right. I think it's huge. You know, you look at the NFL model, you know, and how guys are expected to, you know, be core special teamers, you know, and if we carry 6 guys in and they play on, you know, they're in the 2 deep on multiple special teams, that's big. That, you know, that size speed combo, like you mentioned, is what people look for. Speed, toughness, instincts, you know, and that's usually comes out of the linebacker room. So, you know, right now they've done a great job of embracing that. They know that special teams is everything, and if they want to be great football players, they got to be on teams. And, you know, we've got a lot of guys that are competing and are going to be in the 2 deep on teams.
Looking at receiver, you know, you had CJ and Noah that could take the top off last year. Who are those guys that you've seen this year so far?
You know, obviously CJ and Noah are really good players for us, played a long time, we're older guys. I think this year we probably have more guys that can make big plays. You know, you don't ever want to just put the cart in front of the horse, but I think we got a lot of guys that can really stretch the field. You got Dante Lee, who arguably is one of the fastest guys on the team. You got Juju Gray, who's obviously may be the fastest guy on the team. You have Eric Smith, who's coming in from high school, was a track guy. So you have a ton of guys that can make big plays, and you have more speed in that room than we've had in the past. You look at Trayon, moving him to the outside has allowed him to kind of show some of his explosive playmaking ability, and I think that's going to be good for us this year. And then Collins really coming along as well. Collins made a lot of really big plays down the field for us. So I think it's going to be more of a mix. We have Tyson, we have Elijah, who are really good route runners, guys that can come across the middle, make a lot of tough catches, great hands, all those things. But then you have a few guys who really can, if they get behind you, it might be a touchdown.
Is Reese Smith in a good place right now, or is he getting there still?
Obviously he's still trying to get through, but he's had some good spurts in camp. Really, the main thing with him is going slow. Everybody in this building knows what Reese can do. We know what kind of player he is. It's really just making sure that when he comes back, that he's 100% healthy and 100% confident and know what he can do out on the field.
How do you replace the physicality, both in terms of being physical as pass catchers, but also being physical as blockers and supporters in the run game of CJ and Noah?
You don't find too many receivers like Noah. Noah was a terrific blocker. He was a team-first guy. He put his body on the line every week. So you don't replace a guy like that, but you hope that, we can establish that mindset. And so really the big thing is just between him and CJ, they were bigger guys who were very physical in the blocking game. We have to find the guys who, in certain plays, at the point of attack, that we know are going to stick their nose in and be physical. Treyon's one. Elijah's done a good job. Tyson's done a good job. But it's really making sure that we put those guys at the point of attack when we need them, who are going to be physical like those guys were.
How much do you know about that right now in terms of guys that can be physical at the wide receiver position, and how much of that is just stuff that has to happen once the first game begins in a couple weeks?
I think you have an idea, but I think for me, I don't really make a whole lot of decisions until that first game. Obviously you base off the first game and what you saw in camp, but until the lights come on, the fans are out there, the adrenaline's going, you start to really see how people are going to play in the game. And some people, for lack of a better word, they're practice players, but when the games come, and the lights are on, they kind of freeze, and that's the inexperience we talk about. So it's who, when the lights come on, when the fans are out, when all distractions are going on, are still going to be locked in and focused and ready to play. So that's when we'll kind of know exactly where we are this season.
With so many new guys, how do you try to build the trust factor between them and Caden? Or is that the same kind of thing? You don't know till you get into a game situation?
I think as a quarterback, who you trust. And like I tell guys, don't worry about being a 1, a 2, or a 3. Like, get the reps, right? Like, get the reps. Guys worry about, I'm running with the 2s today. I was running with the 1s yesterday. Don't worry about that. Like, get the reps, get the work, because you want that camaraderie with all those quarterbacks, right? And obviously everybody wants to work with Caden because Caden's the starter. But I think for him to have trust, you have to go out there and make the play, right? Like, you can't complain about a DB holding or the ball was too far out. Like, we got a saying that says a bad throw is a great catch waiting to happen. And if you want to have that trust in a quarterback, and the quarterback have trust in you, you got to make the play he doesn't expect you to make. Anybody can make the routine play. I can go out there and probably make the routine play right now. All right, but who can make those competitive catches? Who can make the downfield throws when it's tight coverage? Those are the guys who, when it's third down, when it's red zone, those are going to be the guys that Caden looks for regardless of what the play is, right? Because it's that comfortability.
You mentioned Elijah Cannon. What have you seen from him in camp, and then what kind of role do you foresee from him? Is he like a red zone guy? What do you kind of think he's going to have in the offense?
I think he's got a chance to be really special this year. You don't a lot of times get a chance to coach a 6'3", 6'4", 220-pound receiver. Just by his physique, he's very naturally physical. He runs well. He's got great hands, doesn't drop the ball very often. He's going to be a really good player for us. I see his role being as big as he wants it to be. Like I said, I believe in rewarding guys that play hard. Last year, as crazy as it sounds, C.J. Daniels didn't start the first 2 games, because he was coming off injury. He had to prove it, and once he proved it, he stepped into that role and obviously had a great season. So the same thing with these guys, man. Like, Treyon's probably the only guy in that room who's probably solidified himself by what he did last season. For the rest of those guys, we're earning spots until they solidify themselves.
How much are you expecting out of Jerome Jolly this year? What can he give you? We saw some bursts last year, but it seems like it's just getting maybe more out of him for longer stretches. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely fair to say. I think you said it the right way. We're expecting a lot out of him. He's going to have a big role. He's an emotional leader for us, and he plays with a lot of passion. He makes a lot of plays. He's a guy who's not scared to shoot a shot and pull his trigger and make big plays. For him, it's just going to be a matter of maintaining the discipline and being consistently executing at a high level. But expect a lot out of him. He's going to have a big role, and he's definitely been improved this fall camp.
We-
Not going more, go ahead, Joe.
We know a lot about Jerome and Joe. What about the four new transfers you got coming in? What should we know about them?
Like I said, just all great guys. I think you never want to miss with character, and we got that right. They're guys who, consummate professionals. They do the right thing. They come in every day. They've earned the respect of their teammates. Taylor Jackson, he is intelligent. He already has picked up the defense. He's already playing at a high level, making all the calls and checks, that he needs to make in that Mike linebacker role. Then you've got Jamar Brown, who's kind of a versatile jack of all trades. He can help you at multiple positions on defense. He's a part of different packages, as well as special teams. So he fills that role in a big way. And then you've got Aiden Vaughn, who another guy, very smart. He plays linebacker with a high technique and skill set level. His pads are down, his footwork is clean. So he's just putting on weight and gaining some mass, but he's going to be a big time player. And then Ethan Crisp, kind of another one of those guys who's taller, longer, versatile. Can play a little bit of Sam for us and then be in the box a little bit as well. So all those guys bring a little different dynamic, but they're all in the mix and all in the fold and gonna contribute at a high level, I feel like.